Welcome back to the summary of the final segment of today's Priceless Business. And wow, what an information-packed program, and one of the things we can Priceless Business, it's not only about making money, and really how to manage money, but it's also about lifestyle and having a higher quality of life. Which is why I love to have interviews like our next guest, Jill Wobbin Payne. And she's a board-certified licensed professional counselor and a certified relationship specialist and author. Her website is chatwithjill.com. Recently, she and I had a lunch, and we talked about some really neat topics. So I'm looking forward to getting, covering some of those topics, particularly one in particular that I thought was one that a lot of us debate continuously. But before we get to her, I just want to mention that today's show brought to you in part by Corso Law Group and Prescription Fitness, as well as the CMO Show. And Jill, welcome to the program. Good to talk to you today.
Hi, Kevin. It's great to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Talk a little bit about your background and what led you into the therapy profession.
Well, I have been in this profession probably all my life. I had a brother or have a brother that has paranoid schizophrenia, and so I've always been in this field. And that's how I got in it. And then I got my master's in, I guess about 20 years ago, started my own practice. I got into doing relationships because I'm seeing what's happening with the world today with technology, and people are losing the insight on how to relate in the real world. So that's what got me to get into relationships.
Very good. Talk about your new book. I love it, by the way. You gave me a copy when we had lunch. I thought it was great, and kind of give us the overview of it.
Well, I believe that this is the only book that you will need for dating and maintaining healthy relationships in our cyberspace culture. So the book in itself is talking about how to communicate. So it's in a communicative style, and it tells different ways on how to meet people just by picking up your head and increasing your awareness. It just says be yourself and maybe step back a little bit and slow down, just like you're in a race car. If you're on the highway and you're going 150 miles an hour, how do you, when you look out the window, how does it look to you? It looks blurry.
Right.
So this book is basically saying slow down and look what's around you, and you may find that person that's right in front of you. And then the second half is once you have that person, then it tells you.
Yeah, my wife and I continuously debate the virtues of online dating because we have friends who have done it and that type of thing. And I tell you right now, now more than ever, tools like what you suggest in your book, and of course I haven't had a chance to read the entire thing. Being very happily married, I probably won't read the entire thing, but I have friends who aren't, and I've liked what I've read in it. It's the kind of thing that you definitely want to suggest to your loved ones and friends of your life who are still out there looking for that significant other. And speaking of that, something that you and I discuss, and it's always a subject of debate is love at first sight. Everyone has a position on that. I'm on the infatuation at first sight view. That's how I kind of look at it. But I'd love to get your perspective on that.
Well, the professionals such as myself state that there's many different types of love. So you, in a sense, are correct because it is a process of love. So it really depends on how you define love. And what love at first sight is called romantic love. And so what it is you see someone from across the room, and they've done studies, and in 1 second you are attracted to that person. That's your sexual drive. And then in less than 4 minutes, you've sized that person up, and you are considering them to be your potential mate. And so what happens is it's a drive. It really is a physical thing that happens to you. It is not emotional. Your dopamine goes up. Your serotonin goes down. You get excited, you get obsessed, and crave that person. And so it's more of a process to survive and to be motivated to get your mate. It helps you to focus.
Talk a little bit about, so obviously, I guess that what that does is that once the physiology begins to kick in, you begin to feel more open to explore the emotional side because there's vulnerability and risk and safety issues. surrounding that.
Exactly. And what romantic love is basically it is the drive. So 55% is just through body language, and 38 is the way we talk, the tone, the speed of our voice. And actually, just to tell the people out there, the lower your voice is and the slower the speed, the more people are attracted to you. And only 7% is what we say to that person. So it's really great if you are lucky to get this love at first sight or this romantic love. And there was a study done in Israel. They took 600 people that had been with each other for a very long time, either married or long committed relationships. And only 11% had this love at first sight, this romantic love.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're really lucky enough to get this, I would love to bottle it up. It's great. There's a bunch of different chemicals that are working in your body, your adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, and all these cause you to act crazy in love, and it literally is crazy in love. So people are only thinking about that one thing, getting that potential mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and so obviously, it really is a form of love, but it's certainly not the type of love that can stand on itself long term. That what you get in that first meeting.
No, it's not. But if you keep on being with that person, eventually it turns into a committed relationship. And so a lot of problems people are having in today's society is just going back to the technology. They've done studies where women are going to bed with men on the first date if they meet them on the website. And it's not all of them, it's just a higher percentage than used to be. And so what's happening is you can have that romantic love after you have sex with somebody. So it really will confuse your relationship. What happens is your vasopressin and oxytocin, which is a hormone of a bonding, it helps you to bond. So people, just by having sex, not even know the person's name, can start having that romantic love.
Yeah, and so what ends up happening is what our parents told us and our grandparents said back in the 1950s is that the wrong organs are making lifelong decisions.
Right. So in my book, I really stress to, just pretend that there's a stick on your hand and pull it back like a throttle and slow yourself down because you may be getting into something that you really don't want to get into.
The longer you take, the more patient you are, the more you have, because we only spend, I needed to put a disclaimer before this segment, but the reality is we don't spend that much time in bed. We have to spend a lot of time in our engagement with one another, our dealing with children when that eventually happens, dealing with bills. That's the vast majority of our life, the relationship, the physical relationship part is really such a small part. If you can't get the rest right, it doesn't matter how good that small part is, the marriage itself is going to be less than pleasant.
Oh, I know, and it's too bad because this romantic love, the bad thing, it only lasts 6 months to 2 years, and then it just dissipates. And so then reality sets in.
This book I saw recently called Post-Romantic Stress Disorder. And he argues that, and that makes perfect sense. You need more than that romantic stuff. You're going to all of a sudden, after 2 years, you're going to fall out of love. Well, what you did is you fell out of the mere physical attraction stage, and you needed more than that.
Right. So what I tell my clients is that consider your relationship like a job. So if you went to a job and you were hired at your profession right now, Kevin, and you're online and you're on the radio show doing your work, and then, you just decided to just slack off because, you got the job. Well, what would happen?
Well, I would probably fire me.
Well, probably people would stop listening. So you want to do the best you can. Every day you're working to do something different, and that's the same in your relationship. So to keep it alive, to keep love alive, you need to go on regular dates, and not just regular dates, novelty dates, new and exciting dates. There's something called misattribution, where you misattribute different surroundings to your mate. So something exciting is going to keep you excited. And then there's another study done that if you listen to music that you both like, that's exciting, it's the same as having sex. So so it just gets your dopamine up and all the other hormones, and so it really increases you to fall back in love. So these are things that you can...
Jill, I really appreciate the time. Got to wrap it up on that note. Jill Robin Payne in the website.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Yeah, the website is chatwithjill, Jill, in case there's any confusion there, .com. Excellent. And while you're there, check out our book, Meeting People, It's Not a Game. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Great segment. All right, when we come back tomorrow, we're going to have much more for you. The best content here shows up over there at usdatingreview.com. Have a great day and spend it wisely on this station.